I don't know about you, but I think there's something very satisfying about seeing the loss each time and watching it go down. Okay, like as you can see, it would have been nice to have this model keep going. Let me just show you. You don't have to restart these. You can keep going. So basically what you can do, I'm actually going to go ahead and copy these. If you like fit the model again, it's actually going to start where it left off. So let's just see what happens if we paste this in and allow it to actually go for 20 more epochs. Okay. So it should start at about this 243,000. This, I'm not, that's not the 404, these are the squares. So these are huge numbers, right? They're like 2 billion, but when you square root it, it's about 150,000. Okay, so we run it again and you can see it's starting at like a good number, like a better number, right? And so that's kind of cool that you can kind of keep building upon your networks. And later we'll take a look at a technique called early stopping where you can sort of just let it go off on its own before basically you can set it up so that it only stops until it's no longer learning. This is doing great, like in the sense that it's continuing to go down. And what I would say here is that this simple, see now it's down to 118,000. This simple, I'm going to do it again. This simple neural network, which is only 8 hidden layers, is doing a great job of learning, right? So it's actually a good one, you know? And what we're going to do next, though, is look at how to build how we can modify it. Okay, but really cool, continues to improve, you know, and by the way, we're copying in sort of the number of epochs is 20, but you know, you could say, hey, this is doing great. I'm going to give it 200 and just let it go and see what we get, because you can see it is continuing to improve. But what I want to do next is come back up to our original and let's see how some different changes can affect it. So first of all, we had one hidden layer. What if we add another? Well, you could copy in sort of the hidden layer here. And let me show you, like if we do a second hidden layer. So we're going to add a second hidden layer. You don't want this input shape. It's actually wrong, and you don't actually need one. Okay. Now, I don't know what happened there. I could copy, hitting a mouse is too close to this. Okay, I could copy the previous one of 8 nodes, but you know, you could also make it different. You could go to less, you could go to more. What if we try this? What if we try something fancy like maybe this one is 16, so we do big at the start, and then we go down to 8, and then maybe we even go down to 4 before we go down to 1. And you can see it's kind of simple to add these new hidden layers because you're just looking at sort of like how many nodes do I have? They're all densely connected, and I think it's fine to keep using the ReLU activation function. And so, and by the way, feel free to have fun with it. You don't have to like do this one. You could do a different setup of, you know, dense layers and numbers, you know, like how many do you have? You know, maybe you have 8 and they all have a small amount, or maybe you have 2 and they have like a lot of nodes, right? It's cool to kind of experiment to see. And I can tell you I've had success sort of using big ones here and just a couple. And then, you know, you can try things like this too. Okay, so after you make the changes to try something new, go ahead and reset your model, right? And you can see now before it trained on, I think, 80, was it 81? And now it's training on 321 parameters. So it's training on 4 times as many. So if this model works well, we should see quicker gains when we're building it, but also may move slower because it's got more to find. And so I'm going to go ahead and keep it at the 20 epochs so we're not watching code for too long. And let's see how this one does. Okay, so we've got a new model here. And you can see it's moving a little more slowly, but not too much. But it's also, you know, it's got a big gain in that first jump. And it looks like the previous one, though, okay, it's getting some better gains. Yeah, it's actually moving better. Now look at that. So this is going much better. This took us more like 60 nodes. The scrolling is kind of fun here. You know, it looks like, you know, hopefully we'll get under 100,000. And note the trade-off here. Like in the previous case, when we were like modifying the, I guess the first case we only had one hidden layer. It took us like maybe 80 epochs to get to a score like this. Well, here, this is 4 times as many weights. So now we're getting to that number in a fewer number of epochs. And so I think it's only natural to say, well, what if we do more, right? Like, can we get it within 20 epochs? And the 20 epochs isn't like the thing. You know, you can make it more epochs too. So these things all kind of balance out. Ultimately, what we're doing here, we're just experimenting to get a feel for how neural networks work. And whenever you find a good learning, you can just let it go for a lot of epochs. So let's try one more though. So if we go back up and make another model estimate, what if we just go big and go from like 64 and then all the way down to 8? And so I'm going to comment out this third layer. I'll leave it up there. Okay. So how many weights does this have? With 321 the last time, this has 1,105. So it's almost 4 times as many. Okay. Now, fair warning, if you have like the more and more weights, it doesn't mean it's going to do better and better, right? Models can easily overfit. So let's just find out. This may or may not. Okay. So we'll just keep the 20 epochs. And it should move a little more slowly. Not too bad. Now you can see, look at this, like it's not finding a clear path through, right? It's actually not learning. And so it looks like it's got simply too many weights to begin with. So valuable lesson there is not just that increasing the number of weights is good. So just to wrap this up in conclusion, I think I would try something like the following. This one is no good. Look at that, no learning happened. I'm glad we actually got one like that. Okay, so based on all those results, I like that. I like the one that we had before. I think I'll leave it like that, the 16, 8, and 4. I think that one worked nicely. And so if I was moving forward with this one, I think this is solid. And what I would do is maybe increase the epochs to something like 100 and just run it and see what we get.